It's cold, isn't it? See? Take a vitamin. You're deficient in something.
God.
Hi, everybody.
Hi. Welcome to the post show, everybody.
I was just thinking about what we were talking about this morning and how you didn't really let me get my story out about Stanley. You were making fun of me too much. So can we revisit?
Yes, because you did get your story out that nothing happened.
Yeah, but I was going to tell you that we are in like places of the Stanley. Well, I only got to bring up the piano room. There's other places that are supposed to be haunted, but they aren't.
Is that your story?
Okay, well, let's catch everybody up. There was a story that came out about why the Stanley is considered to be one of the most haunted
Places.
hotels.
Yeah.
Is it places or hotels? What was this list?
I don't know. I mean, just why it's supposed to be so haunted.
And because it still looks old timey, right? They haven't really they've done a lot of improvements to the Stanley, but they still make it look old timey.
Yeah.
And by old timey, I mean like early 1900s, like Little House on the Prairie. All the girls,
like the wood that kind of smells like it's like already molded out, but it's kind of part of the charm.
Yeah.
Okay.
Have you been to the Stanley?
No.
You've never been?
No.
Okay, it's a beautiful hotel. The restaurant, the bar area, it's all dark wood and it gives a spooky vibe when you walk in. There's a fireplace, there's a big staircase that anybody could have fallen down and died and haunted the place. Anybody could have done it but it's just got that vibe if you can picture it.
Yeah.
Since you've never been. Okay. Well, about 20 years ago, I was working for a radio station and we did a promotion with listeners. Come to the Stanley. We all spend the night. We try to see if it's really haunted. Okay. Now we made it fun. I mean, there was like music and, like a band and drinks and dinner and stuff, but we all got to spend the night and we had full reign of the Stanley. Like we could go anywhere we wanted, except for that one room that you can't go into. But see, that adds to the lore and it gets your mind thinking, oh, we can't go into that room. I bet something really happened. And now you're on edge. You're like, oh, what happened in that room? Somebody got stabbed right in the face.
Oh, right. Right. Hold on. It's a hotel. They're like, it's really just bed bugs, but whatever.
But then that room, if you're on the outside of the Stanley and you look up, you can see the window to that room and it looks like there's a person in that window because the way that the shades are, right?
So we've seen a picture of that before.
All the power of suggestion when it comes to the Stanley. It's all the things are there. I mean, obviously they do tours, ghost tours. They're making money off of it. But with the movie, The Shining and everything, they sell a rum that you can only get at Stanley. It's called red rum.
Okay. Oh, cool. Okay.
Murder spelled backwards.
And then.
So that was my story. We tried all night long to find out if the Stanley is haunted. Like you can even go downstairs. There's tunnels. There's real tunnels down in the Stanley that we went into.
And there was nothing. You saw nothing. But what I loved about this is they're like, this is why. Because it's not the movie. They talk about like, this is why people think it's haunted. And it's these stories about like this woman in the window. There was one room that it was like, the lights had gone out. A housekeeper went in there and there was a little fire in that room. Okay. So that room is like haunted.
It's called a candle.
Well, yeah. I mean, like, honestly, she probably lit a candle. All these stories are like so big. But, and the piano was supposed to be haunted too, because like, I don't know who it was. It could have been a barkeeper, anything. His wife used to come and play piano. She died. So now the piano's haunted. So it's like these little behind the scenes stories of why it's haunted, which I love so much when someone has an experience like this and you're like, okay, like what level of crazy are you at? Or is it totally real? I'm not on board with saying that it's not real.
Oh, I am.
I'm not. Like, I am fascinated by all of it. But is it like, I mean, I don't want to go full Conjuring, but I could use a little like Hubie's Halloween. That's kind of what I want.
Well, okay. Do you believe in ghosts or do you not believe in ghosts?
I do, but not very much. Like does that make sense? I'm not like, yes. I'm like, I could see it like happening. I would be suspect and I would not go in being like, I saw it. It's real. Oh my gosh. I would be I would give a lot of benefit of the doubt to other situations before I said I saw something, but I would see something.
In this day and age with so many cameras everywhere
Yeah.
and equipment, never in the history of the world has there been filmed proof of a spirit or a ghost.
Right.
What are the odds?
Not very much. I mean, they're elusive, like, you know.
The little girl from Little House on the Prairie with her dress from the early 1900s doesn't like to be filmed.
That's what I love is every single time we have done a topic on haunting, it blows the phones up on the show. It blows it up. And I do have a story about haunting. I do have a story about haunting that I do believe that is kind of led me to, like, I don't believe it a lot, but I believe it a little. Every time we talk about haunting, it's always, and then a little girl goes. It's always a little girl. Like, what's wrong with these little girls? I saw a little girl
sitting at the foot of my bed. I saw a little girl at the end of the hallway.
She was in a long dress. They all dress the same. They're all little girls. Little boys are somewhere like in a Nike t-shirt being like, yo, we're cool. Like, haunt away, little girl, whatever. Here's my story with haunting. And I have pictures to prove this. Not prove what I saw or felt. I have pictures to prove that I was there and that existed. In Madison, Wisconsin. I lived there for less than 2 years. We are talking about this very thing on the show, hauntings and all that kind of stuff. And this lady called and she's like, my house is haunted. And it was her seeing things and it was her stories. And it finally got so big with they would do things at Halloween at that house. People would call and be like, no, I've experienced it. And it sort of like virally took off with people calling and saying they've seen it. So I'm like, whatever, we should go out there and like bring our film crew and go do something fun out there. So we go out to this house. The reason it was believed it was haunted is because it was Wisconsin.
There was this girl.
There was a girl. There was a girl. But she was a teenager. So she grew up, but she was also dead and her shoe was dug up. So this house was so old. When they bought it, they got it for like a really good deal. They're like, we bought this house for like $60,000 and it was on like acres of land. He was tilling it up because they were farming and he dug up an old gravestone that I saw and it was in 3 different parts. And this girl died in like this is all true. I saw it with my own eyes. This girl died in like 1863 or something ridiculous. She was like 18 years old and her shoe was dug up as well. I was like this big. It was weird. Like people were smaller back then. Anyway, they're like, this house is haunted. So we go out there.
People were smaller back then.
They were. Have you been to an old theater? They were so much smaller. That's why I was like, I knew it wasn't a fake shoe. Somebody talk about that. People were smaller.
You have lost me completely on this story. She lost a shoe.
She didn't lose a shoe. She was dead, and that was the shoe she was buried in.
And then they dug up the shoe.
They dug up parts of
But it was a smaller
her
shoe
gravestone
because she was a little person?
No, people were smaller back then. People were smaller in the 1800s. It's proven. You can look it up.
That's only like 150 years ago.
Right. I'm just saying, like, we're bigger as humans now, She wasn't doing like Orange Theory and bulking. At any rate, she's dead. Back to the haunting.
So the shoe haunts this house? That's what I get from this story.
Shoe. Okay, forget the shoe.
The shoe seems like a critical part of your story.
Because I think it unleashed the demon. That's why. So we go out to this house. I see all that and I'm still like, whatever. She has now told me things that are happening in the house. 2 of those things I experienced myself. And one of them was, if you want to believe something is haunted, trust a dog. Because she had a dog. It was a big black lab. And this dog would not enter the living room of that house. Would not enter it. And I was like, okay, that is really weird because this dog is all over in different rooms of the house. And we go into the living room and that thing put its brakes on and would not go into the living room of that house. And you know how dogs, when they're freaked out, how they stand. Hand to God, I witnessed that. So that was really creepy, right? So we leave and we go upstairs and she's like, this is the room that she lived in. I see nothing. I feel nothing there. And I swear on my life, we hear the sound of a toy piano downstairs. You know how like kids have, it's not like a xylophone, but it had like a battery in it, right? It had like a battery in it. This toy started going off. So I was like, dude, and she's like, oh, that's my grandkid's like toy downstairs. I'm thinking like, whatever. And we go downstairs and I hear it again. And I'm like, where is that thing? And she's like, oh, the toy box is over there, the corner of the living room. And I go get it. The toy was off. And it was making noise.
Would have been better if the noise you heard was the sound of a shoe walking across the floor.
You're really stuck on the shoe.
Get that shoe back in the story, please.
Honestly, like who? That's just the things that I've seen.
You know what? I also grew up with a dog that wouldn't go in the kitchen.
Yeah,
because the dog wasn't supposed to go in the kitchen. So maybe this dog just wasn't supposed to go in that room, and he was being a good boy.
And they're just like,
yes,
okay.
yes.
So benefit of the doubt, fine. Explain to me the toy going off.
But you were in the room when it happened. You only heard it.
We were coming down the stairs when it happened one of the times. Nobody did it. A person didn't do it.
You don't know that.
Because I heard it while the corner of the room was in sight.
My kids have a Bop It toy that will go off every now and then. Is my house haunted?
Is it on off?
Probably. Those things just do that.
I don't know. I mean, you can call it as well, but that's the only experience I've ever had.
Should we call that like that Chris Mindhunter? Who's the TV show that they go around and film this stuff and look for?
I don't know. Conjuring?
Almost like a reality show.
Fizz, I swear to God, if one of my shoes disappears anytime this week, I will beat you with the other one because my story is real. It's real.
And there was a shoe.
And a little girl. How little was this girl?
Really great story, Trace. Have a great day. See ya.